321, we're dealt ace-king offsuit in the big blind. Ivey kicks things off with a raise to 40. I was looking forward to getting involved in some hands with the 11-time gold bracelet winner, but this is sooner than expected, and I don't even have to go out of my way to do it. Joe Ingram took the seat on Ivey's left. He calls. The cutoff knows a good squeeze opportunity when he sees one. He 3-bets to 200. I'm absolutely not folding. I'm here to get in the mix. During the short time Ivey's at the table, I put in the cold 4-bet to 800, while the most fearless person in poker still has cards in front of him. Ivey looks at me like I've seen him do to others countless times on TV. Then he takes a look at my stack. We just began the session, so I find it odd when Phil asks,
"How much you got, dude? It's hard to count."
3. Started with, I got a little less than 3.
It's hard to believe this is real life right now. My mind immediately goes to the story that I once heard Jason Kuhn tell. Jason and Ivey were playing a hand against each other during a nosebleed session on a poker app. The river card comes out. Jason makes a massive bet. Phil pauses to call Jason on the phone. Phil says that there's a glitch on the app and he can't see the river card. Jason tells him what it is. Ivey says thanks and hangs up. A few seconds before making the call to ship an enormous pot, I asked Phil about that story earlier this morning during the podcast. He says that he remembers it and he was trying to get a verbal tell from Jason. I can't help but think that's why Phil asked me how many chips I have when we just started the session. Anytime I talk to Phil, I'm nervous, so there was definitely trepidation in my voice. Maybe Phil liked hearing that. Maybe that influences his next decision. We're 3 minutes in, and Ivey just 5-bet jammed on me. It seems like he's getting out of line, given what we've got, and the fact that we're playing stakes that are 1% the size of what he'd normally get out of bed to play. He isn't even the only person that I have to worry about. Somehow, after just calling the initial raise, and seeing a cold 4-bet, followed by a 5-bet shove, Joe Ingram seems to have a tough decision.
What's the not hold here? What the hell? Chance to beat Brad and...
It's insane to me that Joe found himself in a situation in which he's not supposed to fold whatever he's holding. He did buy in for less, so he wouldn't have to call for 3,000. He only has 2,000 in front of him. Little do I know, this is what Joey just recorded on his phone. He's got an even better hand than us with a suited version of Big Slick. Still, Joey only has $40 invested at the moment. He doesn't need to take this spot. He folds. I'm a bit concerned that the cutoff could have a real hand. He doesn't like seeing the 4th and 5th bets. He eases my concern as he folds. I've already invested 800. It's only 21.30 more. We're closing the action, getting 2-1 on a call, and I suspect Ivey and I have the same hand or we're flipping. I wanted to tangle with Phil. I'm getting my wish.
Alright, I'll call. We're like 3 minutes in.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
This is by far the most absurd start to any session that I've ever played. I'm all in against the GOAT in a pot over $6,000. He has me completely crushed with pocket aces against my ace-king. I thought that Ivey might have just been messing around. I couldn't have been more wrong, but the hand isn't over. The flop comes 10-10-6 with 2 spades. Okay, now it's pretty safe to say it's over.
Chips?
I had the quads.
Did quads?
Pocket tens.
Jesus. Oh my god, look at that fold. Ivey.
Okay, easy game, Phil.
Easy game. Honestly,
And the first hand, they try to set me up with Ivey in there. Oh my
All right.
god.
I lose $3,000 less than 5 minutes into the session. Nearly everything I won the night before at Bellagio has been absorbed into Ivey's bankroll.
I buy the guy in and then he just stacks me. Yeah.
10 minutes in, we're dealt 7-5 suited in the hijack. I've got a fresh stack of 3,000 in front of me and make a loose raise to 30, hoping that maybe I can get in another interesting situation with Phil. Ivey's on the button. He likes having position and isn't afraid of battling again with me. It worked out pretty well for him the first time. He assembles chips to put in a 3-bet to 130. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have opened this hand. I wanted Phil to put chips in, just not quite that many, but we need revenge before Phil hit and runs us. Plus, we've got a hand with potential. I'm down to stick around. The big blind cold calls first though. I barely played with him, but I already get the sense that he's in the mood to gamble. Maybe it's his cowboy hat. I'm getting an even better price with cards that are likely to be in their own lane. I call for 100 more. We're going 3 ways to the flop. It comes King 7 deuce with 2 hearts. We smash it with middle pair and a flush draw. The big blind checks. I check with plans of raising Phil if he bets. He checks back to avoid us putting him to the test. The turn is the 4 of clubs, putting a second flush draw on the board. The big blind is going to take a big stab at it. he verbally bets 400 before he's able to get 2 stacks of blue chips in the middle. It's hard to put him on much after cold calling the 3-bet. He shouldn't have any small pocket pairs that improve to a set. He won't have too many combos containing a king either, other than maybe ace-king. He could have a flush draw with ace-jack or ace-queen in hearts or clubs. Our pair of sevens might be best. If not, we'll have outs. I call. Ivey's no longer interested. He folds, placing his cards in front of Joey so that he can see what type of garbage he 3-bet me with pre-flop. Joey has a hard time hiding his amusement.
Lay that down. You're kidding.
This is a large pot. We may or may not need help. The river is the 6 of clubs. It's a bad one for us because the club draw gets there. The opponent checks immediately. Now I'm hoping that he has a heart draw because we don't beat anything else that I put him on. I check back. The big blind lets us know that he's got a pair of kings. He wins it with king-queen offsuit, solidifying my belief that he's indeed a gambler who likes to get in the mix. I don't blame him. I'm trying to do the same thing while Ivey's at the table. In my case, it cost me over 500. I add on for another 800 to be in for 6,800 total. Here we look down at 9-5 suited in the small blind. Ivey's under the gun. He raises to 40. The hijack calls. The button calls. I'd never even think about calling with this hand if this were a normal game, but I'm having difficulty imagining that in 20 years from now, I'd ever regret stretching out the range during an extremely rare 5-10 session with Phil Ivey when I'm getting a discount. I call for 35 more. We can at least make a straight and flush using both cards. The big blind 3-bets to 340. See, I only had to wait 10 seconds to regret stretching out the range because we're not calling for 300 more. And neither's Ivey. The big blind has 2155 total. Ivey 4-bets to 2,000. This makes the decision easy for 3 of us. The hijack, button, and I fold. The big blind isn't getting away. He jams for slightly more. Ivey calls and shows pocket queens. He's in trouble because the big blind has him notched with pocket kings. They both have 1 spade, so Ivey's going to need to hit a queen, a straight, or a diamond flush, otherwise he's going to double up his opponent. The flop comes Jack-6 deuce with 2 diamonds. Ivey quickly realizes that he's got the backdoor flush draw as he taps his red queen to induce extra diamonds out of the deck. He gets the king of diamonds on the turn, which is an interesting card that gives his opponent top set, but Ivey picks up 8 outs. Ivey drills runner flush to crack kings in another all-in pot. His younger opponent takes it as well as possible. It's not every day that you get stacked by a legend. I can relate to him. Ivey's already talented, but when he's getting lucky as well, there's no way to beat him. Ivey only had about an hour to play. He makes the most of it, winning 5,100 in a short time. He leaves his stack of over 8,000 at the table to color up and give to me to repay him at a later time since he's in a hurry. I may need some extra chips today anyway. The action doesn't stop just because Ivey leaves. We're dealt ace-king offsuit under the gun. I'm having some PTSD after the first time we looked down at it today. It's not stopping us from getting involved though. I raised to 30. Under the gun +1, the cutoff, and the button all call. The action's on the small blind, who's the newer player at the table. He 3-bets at 230. It's a large re-raise, and it's over our early position raise. I'm not going to play this too aggressively under these circumstances, especially when we're in position. I call for 200 more. The remaining players all fold. It's down to heads up. The flop comes king-queen 4 with 2 hearts and a diamond. We've got top. It's unlikely that we're against aces or kings since the amount of those combos available are reduced. The main hand I'm worried about being up against is pocket queens. The small blind down bets to 160. This is a spot where the opponent's actually supposed to pure check because we can have all kinds of strong hands like we have right now. We can call or raise, but I'm not sure what worse hands might call other than maybe ace-queen with a heart or 2, or just a flush draw. I suppose maybe something like king-jack suited as well. I call, which I prefer to do more when we're in position. The turn is the 6 of spades. It's a total blank. Ideally, we'll see the opponent slow down and check. He's not going to do that. He disappoints us, firing big with a bet of 650. This puts us in a very strange and uncomfortable situation. I don't love any option. I've got 2550 total, and the opponent has us slightly covered. If we call here, we're going to have less than a pot-sized bet left in our stack. We definitely don't want to see a heart come out since the ace of hearts is still unaccounted for, and it feels like we're up against a big draw and the opponent's trying to buy the pot right now in an effort to force us out. If we look up a similar spot on GTO Wizard, we see if we're facing a pot-sized bet on the turn with top, we'd have all 3 options available of calling, jamming, or folding. Note that GTO Wizard prefers that we fold the ace-king offsuit pre-flop to the large 3-bet. which is why we're looking at all the suited combos this hand instead. All three choices are pretty equal. I go the aggressive route. I brace myself to get snapped off by a set of queens. It doesn't appear to be what the opponent has. He's clearly not happy to see the shove. Maybe he's got the same hand as us, or maybe we caught him trying to make a move with a flush draw. If he had aces, he'd have probably called by now. As time goes on, it feels more and more like we've got the best hand. 45 seconds goes by before the opponent folds. I'm good with that outcome. We win well over $1,000 without having to sweat the river card. It's the biggest pot that we've won so far. It won't be close to the biggest one that we'll win today though. 10 minutes later, we're dealt ace-10 offsuit on the button. The cutoff raises to 30. We're supposed to evenly split between calling or 3-betting. In this instance, I call. The big blind calls as well. We're going 3 ways to the flop in position. It comes Jack 9-8 with 2 spades. We've got an open-ender and an over. The big blind checks. The cutoff puts in a small bet at 20. I don't get the sense that he's strong, otherwise he would have bet more on a draw-heavy board with 2 opponents. Maybe he just has a draw himself. Calling is reasonable because we're getting a good price, but I'd like to give us a chance to win right now without having to necessarily rely on making a hand. I raise to 60 as a bluff. The big blind folds. The cutoff isn't as eager to let go of his cards. He calls for 40 more. I still put him on a draw or medium strength hand at best. The turn is the jack of hearts, pairing the board and putting a second flush draw out there. The cutoff checks. I don't think that he had top pair on the flop, so maybe he won't like seeing another jack come out. If he has a draw like I suspected, he's definitely not going to like this turn card. I bet 170 to keep the pressure on. I can have straight and full house combos that I'd play this way. The cutoff isn't giving up though. He calls. Maybe my read was wrong and he has a jack of some sort after all. Maybe he just really doesn't want to let go of a hand like ace-10 of spades, king-10 of spades, 10-8 of spades, or plenty of other heart or spade combinations. The river is the king of clubs. No new straights get there. Flush draws containing a king improve. It's certainly possible that the opponent could have king, queen of hearts or spades. Those aren't particularly strong given the run out and how aggressively I've played this so far. Cutoff checks. Once he calls a fairly large size bet on the turn, checking is preferable because I may have misjudged something along the way, and it's tough to get the opponent to fold a hand like trips or even a pair of kings. What I've seen so far from the cutoff is that he's on the tighter side and may be inclined to avoid bigger pots. I play into that with a large overbet bluff of 700. Even if he has trips or a pair of kings, he's probably going to fold, figuring that he's up against minimally a straight, but I could definitely have a full house as well. We don't get a snap fold like I was hoping for if the opponent just had a missed flush draw. He's got to have something with value. After 45 seconds in the tank, the opponent finds the call to pick us off. I show the bluff. He shows a hand that I didn't even consider him having.
Oh wow. Not what I thought you had.
The opponent flopped bottom set and improved to a full house on the turn. I certainly wouldn't have tried to bluff him if I knew he had that, but he seemed to still be considering between folding and calling when I bet so large on the river. My read is wrong about the types of hands that he had, and my intuition leads me astray to lose a substantial amount of chips. His small bet on the flop really tripped me up. I add on for 600 more. I'm in for 7,400 total and down 4,400 on the day after getting stacked early on.